It was because they would wear like dresses that had like a million layers. So even if they were trapped, they could still drown.
Welcome to Curious World History. My name is Colleen.
And my name was Albert.
Albert, today we're going to talk about a terrible disaster.
Mm-hmm.
What are we going to talk about?
The Dixon Bridge collapse.
The Dixon Bridge collapse. Now, tell me about the Dixon Bridge. So bridges typically go over a body of water. Did this go over a body of water?
Yes.
Do you remember what it is?
A river.
The Rock River in Dixon, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about this bridge. Was this the first bridge?
No, it was the second or third.
Actually, I think it was even more than that. Yeah, so the bridge was, they were from the city's founding in 1830 to 1846, the residents were crossing the river mostly by ferry, which is a boat.
Yeah.
But between 1846 and 1868, the city had at least 8 wooden bridges across the Rock River. And none of them survived more than a few years because of the fact that there would be high water during certain times of the year. And then also there's this thing it's called ice jams or ice flows, where ice that's on the river, especially when it gets thick, when it starts to break up, it comes in huge chunks. And it's almost like having floating cement coming down the river, and it can, smack into things and break stuff. So then
it was Truesdell's awful design.
So you've already made a decision about who you think is at fault here.
Yes.
And we don't even know what has happened yet.
Yeah.
All right, so tell me what happens.
Okay, so on Sunday, May 4th, 1873, a crowd of spectators gathered on the Iron Bridge over the Rock River in Dixon, Illinois, to watch a baptism ceremony taking place in the river below.
Okay. Do you know what a baptism is?
No.
So a baptism is used in different religions, I think primarily Christianity, although I'm sure there are other religions that use water for religious purposes in a ceremony. But a baptism is something where sometimes it's done in a church where they wash a little bit of, they call it holy water, over maybe the top of the baby's head. And sometimes it's done with adults. Somebody converts to a religion when they're an adult. But in this case, this one was done outside in the river. So some groups of religious folks will do a baptism, it's a water ceremony. They will do it at a lake or at a river or someplace else where there's a body of water where someone can go into the water. So it sounds like this was a big ceremony. Do you know how many people were there?
150 to 200.
Were those the people in the water or on the bridge?
On the bridge.
Okay, on the bridge. So people you said spectators. What is a spectator?
It's a person who would look.
Someone who's there to watch something happen?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me more.
So many of the people who were closer to the baptism were women and children because they wanted to get a better look. And the men were further back, so they would allow the women to go out.
Yeah. There was a thing at that time, and still today, chivalry. Have you ever heard that term?
No.
It's when someone behaves like a gentleman. So sometimes that means opening the door for somebody is a good example, right? And in some cases, it's giving up a better seat so that a woman or a child may sit there, or it could be an older person too. And so some of these men were being gentlemen, and they were being chivalrous. And so they offered to allow these women and children get closer to the edge of the bridge so that they could see better.
And some men and boys, they were also on, the iron bars to get a better look. And
so this bridge, you're saying, is made of iron.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now all of the bridges prior to that had been made out of what?
Wood.
That's right. So Dixon said, listen, we can make a bridge here that will last longer. We're going to use iron, which is harder than wood, and we're going to build it in sections, right? So there were these, and they still build bridges in sections today in many cases, but they built sections, brought them in, And assembled them on site. Okay, so tell me more.
So at roughly 1:15 p.m., as the baptism was underway, the bridge suddenly cracked, twisted, and collapsed.
So the bridge just suddenly, out of nowhere, cracks, twists, and collapses. Okay.
The spans tipped over and fell into the river, plunging spectators into the water.
That's right. So those segments that we were talking about, they built this bridge in segments and then assembled them on site. The segments started to come apart from each other.
Can we put multiple pictures so they can see?
Oh, of course, of course. So we will make sure we put pictures of this up on our website on curiousworldhistory.com. But Truesdell, his design was had a lot of lattice work, which means thinner pieces that overlapped and made an attractive looking bridge.
Yeah.
But that lattice work, when the bridge collapsed and the iron twisted, became actually something that was even worse. Do you know why?
Because of the whip out, or?
Well, part of what happened was when the bridge twisted and fell down on top of people, the lattice work acted like a cage and it kept them under the water, right? So tell me what happened as a result of this. How many people were injured and killed?
So 46 people died and at least 56 were injured, making it one of the deadliest road bridge disasters in U.S. history.
That's scary. Now, this was not the only bridge collapse disaster. Did Truesdell have any other bridge disasters?
Yes.
He had multiple bridges collapsed. It's interesting that nobody stopped them from making this bridge when multiple of his designs had collapsed. The bridge that collapsed before this one that was it was Truesdell's design as well, was the Elgin Bridge. And it was a single truss design. The Dixon Bridge, though, was a double truss, so they thought that was going to be safer. And there were lots of questions if the Elgin Bridge collapse was due to a group of people, they called them evilly disposed persons. So they were thinking maybe someone did something on purpose to damage the bridge. But that sounds like somebody's just placing blame. And it wasn't just limited to him. My friend BJ told me the other night, as I was telling him we were going to work on this particular Dixon Bridge collapse, he said there was one that was in Dedham, Massachusetts in the 1880s, so that's roughly around the same time as this one, and it was the Bussey Bridge train disaster, led to 23 dead and over 100 injured. So it was very common, unfortunately, back in that time for bridges to collapse. They still collapse from time to time today, but we've gotten a lot better. Why do you think we've gotten better at bridge building and maintenance?
Because we've learned over time.
We've learned, and
we have better resources.
Better resources. That's right, better technology. We also now have certifications for engineers. They have to have certain qualifications in order to do a project like this. There are safety checks that are done and inspections, and there's routine maintenance as well. What else could you tell me about this?
So, most of the victims were women and young children. And young girls. By some accounts, 4 of every 5 fatalities were female.
Oh, my goodness. Now, there's another reason that women tended to be most of the fatalities. Do you know why?
It was because they would wear dresses that had a million layers on them.
Lots of layers on their clothing. So every layer, as it soaked through, became heavier and heavier, and that made it harder for them to swim as well.
So even if they were trapped, they could still drown.
That's right. That's right.
Out of the 46 fatalities, 37 were women and only 9 were men.
Who did they end up holding responsible? Was anybody held responsible?
No.
Not really. Nope.
And while this was happening, Truesdell, he wasn't there.
He no longer was in Illinois. Did he move out of the Illinois area?
Well, everyone thought that he was dead.
No kidding. And was he dead?
Nope, he moved to Springfield, Massachusetts.
Oh, boy. So not far from here, right? About
Yeah.
an hour from here, Springfield. Is there anything else that you learned about this bridge collapse that you found fascinating?
Rescue efforts began almost immediately. Men, they grabbed wooden planks and shoved to the water so people could hold on to them. And when people fell into the water, the debris from the bridge, they would climb onto it. So they would have like a mini raft.
That's right, because there were wooden planks that sat there, and those planks actually kind of became like floats, right, that people could hold on to.
And so the farthest body was found 10 miles away downstream.
Yeah. It sounds like that bridge was, that river was pretty strong flowing river, right? I mean, it had knocked down several bridges before, so obviously it was a strong river, and it carried those bodies down up to 10 miles, maybe even more, they think. Fortunately, these terrible events do usually lead to improvements in processes.
Yeah.
They did improve things. When you think about a situation like this, it reminds me of another podcast that we did, another episode, where they ended up learning that things needed to be done differently. Do you remember which one that was?
No.
So the Boston molasses flood was a good example of them thinking, well, we don't really necessarily need people with certifications or safety measures, right? And that was also a situation where people were hurt and killed.
So on the ground in Dixon today, there is a memorial plaque as of 2023. It lists the names of the dead placed near the river on the south bank to remember the lives lost.
Well, this was very interesting to learn about, Albert.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing this story and for coming up with this idea. I felt like I learned a lot about why infrastructure development is done differently today.
This is Curious World History.
Thank you.
You're welcome.